Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome to this webinar co-hosted by Sales Layer and Start with Data. The webinar today is all about bricks to clicks, developing a product information management strategy for the building materials industry. So my name's Ben Adams, and I'm Chief Customer Officer here at Start with Data. Start with Data is a partner to distributors, retailers, and manufacturers, and we deliver tools and services to help make their product content accurate, complete, and consistent wherever it's needed by their customers. And Mark joins me today. Mark, over to you to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Ben. So yeah, Mark Simons, account executive at Sales Layer. We are a cloud-based PIM solution, work with clients globally, all over the world, but very much Europe and America primarily. I'm based in the UK, just outside London. So good to meet you all.
Thanks, Mark. Really great to be with you on a webinar again. So so today, we're going to talk all about PIM, product information management, in the context of the building materials, building supplies industry. And the reason we're on this webinar in the first place is because the building materials sector needs digitization. There's no question. The trends of shopping behaviors and the demands from customers and distributors and manufacturers is meaning that these actors are wanting a better digital set of digital capabilities to sell, and PIM is a really important tenet of that strategy, and having a PIM strategy and a PIM solution really supports a digital transformation. So today we're gonna have three short parts. So first of all, we're going to have a discussion about what is product information management and kind of what are the tenets of product information management. And then the second section, Mark is going to talk about what is a PIM solution to support a PIM strategy. And then lastly, we're going to talk about 5 challenges really that PIM solves specifically for the building materials industry. So I'll kick off. What is product information management? Well, simply put, product information management is the process of managing all the information required to market and sell products through your distribution channels to your customers. And this could be any type of information really that's required by customers. And a really good way of kind of demonstrating this is, you've got 2 product pages on this slide. You've got a product page with very limited content. We've got some basic overview of the product and a few attributes. But then on the right, we've got a really enriched product page, which contributes to a really good product experience. So we've got descriptions, features, we've got downloadable assets, imagery, and we've got a really concrete length and breadth set of technical specifications. So having a product information management strategy is really the process of creating the processes and tools and data governance around giving your customers the sort of experience that is on the right. Next slide, please. So just to bring that even further to life a bit, what is product information and what are the types of product information that are important? Well, if we think about product information, whether you're a manufacturer or a builder's merchant or a distributor, you're going to be managing all sorts of different types of information within your businesses. Some of that information is going to be really important for your customers, like on the product page. So we've got things like titles, descriptions, we've got spec sheets, we've got attribution, but there are also other types of information that are really important in this industry. So things like compliance and sustainability information, that we're going to talk about a bit later on. So, and then there's even other types of attribute information that are important internally in your businesses, things like logistics and supply chain types of attributes, weights and dimensions, and all of those sorts of things. So whether you're an internal team in your business or whether you're an external customer to your business, product information really is one of the core backbones of kind of everything you do. Next slide, please. So in Start with Data, we talk a lot about product information value chain. And really what this is if you look through the delivery of product data through your entire supply chain within the building materials industry, there's really kind of three key actors in this process, right? You've got manufacturers who prepare data ready to send to distributors. And the biggest problem for manufacturers is it's really difficult to share data with distributors and builders merchants because you have to adhere to standards and you have to send data in one go. And sometimes the distributors are asking for quite a lot of information from you. And then if you're a distributor or a merchant, really what you're trying to do with product information management is synchronize all of this product information from literally hundreds of suppliers in some cases. And the reason that you're consolidating this information is to offer a better customer experience through product discovery and SEO, and even for your sales colleagues in depots or stores and that sort of thing. And then for the customer, it's really all about data quality. It's like, if your customers have access to complete, accurate, consistent product information for every product, then they're going to have a better customer experience. And not to mention things like traceability and accuracy of data. So all in all, you can see how important a PIM strategy is when you're thinking about your end-to-end digital journey and your digital transformations. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Mark, and he's going to talk to you about PIM solutions. Over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Ben. So yeah, when we talk about what is a PIM solution, we're talking about a specialized bit of software that is totally designed to manage product information. And we'll come on to the different systems further on in the presentation to help better position what that means. But when I talk about or describe a PIM solution, generally I'm focusing on three core areas. Businesses generally, before having a PIM solution, are dealing with data in a variety of different silos. It could be they're spread around different spreadsheets across the organization. An ERP will definitely be involved at some stage in terms of holding product information. And depending on what kind of business they are, if it's a distributor, for instance, they may be then having to bring in different supplier product information as well. So first and foremost, it's getting product information into one place. And then once you've got it into that single place, it's then turning that data into something that can be used for your marketing and sales teams primarily. So it's taking all of that data that's scattered around that business and being able to work on it to ensure that product managers, quality control, procurement, all of those different individuals and professionals in the organization are able to have their input to ensure then that the product quality of information that you push out into the different channels to go to market is as good as it possibly can be. And that then leads on to that third stage in the process, right, which is where the PIM is allowing you to map that product information out into those different channels in an automated fashion. So that can be benefiting internally, such as your sales teams being able to access information. It can be more from a marketing perspective, pushing out to your websites, or it can be more sort of traditional, pushing out to be able to create print catalogues. Also, depending on the type of business you are, you might be needing to push that information out to distributors marketplaces, or direct to the customer. But the point to really home in on here is that the format that information is pushed out in is in a format that that party that is going to receive it can accept it in. So just sort of taking that on a bit further, why do you need a PIM, and the kind of pain points that we're dealing with, especially as Ben's already alluded to, in the building materials space, you're dealing with complex catalogues. So that centralization of product information is kind of key and fundamental to why a PIM solution is brought in. And why is that? Well, businesses want to gain control. Okay, that single source of truth is allowing all stakeholders to bring that data together, avoid those data silos across the business. And data governance is quite important here as well, right? Being able to track change so that you can see when a change was made. You know, it can be something like you change the price point on a given day, and there's a correlation there with a sales jump in the following days. So having that record of change, absolutely critical, and being able to undo any kind of errors that you might make along the way. But having workflows across these teams with different roles and responsibilities gives the organization a very efficient way to be able to manage this quite complex product data. The quality of the data obviously is then the benefit that comes out from this. So you're removing data errors so that the data information can be accessed across departments, and more importantly enriched, ready for customer access. And that's the important piece to think about, is getting your product information ready for being customer facing, whether that's through marketing activities or through sales. And the upshot of this is being able to get that information out into those channels as quickly as possible, whether it's new product that you're bringing into the market, or making changes, updates to the existing products that you've already got out there. Now, what you're normally dealing with without a PIM is a lot of manual repetitive tasks. And that's caused by customers or marketing channels needing data formatted differently. And that's the kind of the important part here. If you're just dealing with one channel and you've just got to deliver one format, then there's less of a requirement for a solution like this. Then moving on to who within the organization is going to benefit from this. As I sort of said, predominantly we're talking to marketing and e-commerce teams, because their aim is to provide a better customer experience in the channels that they deal with, right? So, get that information out as quickly as possible requires a collaboration across the business. And so for a marketing team, they need to be getting those different engineers, product development, procurement, all having their input on the areas of product information that they are responsible for. For sales, it's less about actually having any kind of input into the data itself, but simply just getting access to up-to-date information that is accurate, so that they can get that out in front of their customers as quickly as possible. We talk about the C-suite as well. So, I think the benefits that I've touched on already, obviously from a C-suite perspective, are going to resonate, but ultimately a business that is more productive, benefiting across their teams, and then being able to put that information out into the market quickly is going to grow sales, because they're getting that information in front of their customers as quickly as possible. So speed and agility in getting that information out are the kind of main benefits there. And then for the IT perspective, well, we're a cloud-based solution. So, setting up sales layer, implementing sales layer is a quick and easy process. And once the system is set up, it is designed for the business user. So you're not going to get internal users constantly coming back to the IT team asking for any kind of coding changes that might need to be made. Over to you, Ben.
Awesome. Great. We can tell this webinar is live. So yeah, given the thing just fell off. So yeah, so the third thing we wanted to talk a bit about, we wanted to kind of bring this to life a bit more in the context of the building materials industry, because we've learned about what PIM is, We've learned about what a PIM solution is and the benefits that Mark's just explained. But specifically for the building materials businesses and industry, how does PIM solve some of these key challenges? So we've identified 5 key challenges really. I'm going to talk about a few of them. So firstly, the building materials industry deals with very complex and diverse product types. There's no question. So we've got a really good example here. Brick, on the surface, it's a simple product. Most people say it's got like weights and dimensions and things, but actually, when you start looking at the multitude of different specification attributes associated with this brick, it actually becomes really, really complicated. So we've got all the standard information, but then we've got a lot of compliance information, things like certifications. We've got even like engineering information. So things like thermal conductivity, water absorption, that sort of stuff. So building materials businesses have to deal with this length and breadth, and you've got to store this somewhere, right? You've got to put this information somewhere where it's traceable and reusable across all of the different consumption of that information. So a PIM really forms the backbone of storing this information and managing it, but also when you think about your PIM strategy, you've got to think about how you source and acquire this information. We do a lot of data sourcing and start with data for customers, and that fundamentally is the process between a distributor and a manufacturer and how you acquire that information in. So that's the first key challenge really, and PIM is really, really integral to supporting complex and diverse product specifications and data. So the second challenge that Mark and I talked about for this webinar was standardization and data quality. And there's a really good quote here from the BMF working group chair. Standardization in building materials industry is all about removing inefficiencies in the way that data is exchanged and stored, and so the industry can adopt some sort of commonality. And I'm sure lots of people watching this webinar will know there's a industry data model initiative going on via the BMF at the moment. And the thing is you need a PIM and you need a PIM strategy in order to adhere. If you want to exchange data in this new data model, you really need a PIM both to store that data model and to syndicate that data. Yeah. So when we think about the concept of standardization, well, if you're storing this in a template, you've got a couple of use cases, right? Think about how you ingest data from, let's say you're a distributor or builder merchant, how are you going to ingest data from your suppliers? Well, today, that's probably a really inefficient process, but with standardization and some kind of governance around the data quality, you're getting this data from your suppliers in a much more quality assured way. And likewise, we talk to a lot of customers that store product data in their ERP, and it's usually the starting point. But the reality is ERPs are extremely challenging to store product information. I think it's something that Mark's going to allude to a bit later as well. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you. So yeah, talking about the shifting to digital catalogues, because it provides businesses with a number of benefits. I think hopefully what you picked up on is that an always up-to-date catalogue, easy to identify missing data because you've got that information in one place. So things like running quality score reports where we can spot where there's missing attribute information in the system. And of course, the workflows and roles and responsibilities that I've touched on allows that efficient data optimization process to occur across teams. That efficiency then drives the ability to push more products and release more products, and certainly get those products pushed out to the market far quicker. The agility means its ability to make changes quickly. So things like a specific marketing campaign around a group of products. That information is readily available and easily accessible to be able to take out of the systems and push into the marketplaces that you want to run those campaigns. And of course, when you're dealing in multi-geographical areas, then the localization aspect also becomes increasingly important, right? So that can be holding the right product information for each market, and obviously having that in the right local language as well. And as we've touched on with things like regulations, different markets have different requirements. So when I touched on the point of a PIM is deciding what information out of that centralized database you are choosing to push out into your different channels, that's where the information can be particularly tailored to every market that you are operating in. And then, a PIM then allows the catalog to be shared in a digital format, and that can be spreadsheets. So creating spreadsheets that are formatted as required, or it can be through more of a sort of a tailored visual digital microsite. So we have something called an instant catalog. And of course, it can be also pushing into your own websites, of which you may have multiple websites dealing with different markets, and also pushing out externally to other marketplaces that you may be selling your products into. Also, you can still speed up processes for pushing data into your print catalogs and the various templates that you need to push information out into there. So the outcome is that sales and marketing channels can now do their job much more effectively, selling new product or updating existing product much quicker. So AkzoNobel, for instance, that's a client of ours. I'm sure most of you are aware they're a manufacturer of paints. Their focus, obviously being a large organization, was focusing on unifying both physical and digital product information, because they were dealing with a lot of data inconsistencies. And that was because you had sort of IT, technical, marketing, all dealing with different back offices, handling data separately. So being able to access the catalog in real time, anywhere in the world, was a super benefit for them to benefit from having a PIM solution. So they refer to situations when a customer asks them for information for their own e-commerce store, and being able to generate that Excel export with thousands of SKUs in less than 5 minutes. So super quick, super agile way of being able to respond to a request from a customer. And what they've done is they've created new workflows involving people and systems to drive those results.
Okay, thanks, Mark. And then the fourth challenge that we talk a lot about is around regulatory compliance. PIM basically can play a really, really key role in meeting regulatory standards, right? And in the building materials industry, there's a breadth of regulatory standards that exist today, but there's also new ones coming. So, for example, we're looking at we're seeing the introduction of the digital product passport. So it's already started with batteries. It's going to move into construction materials and chemicals by 2026. The requirements for meeting that regulatory need are having traceable product information that's available digitally to your customers. You need a PIN to meet that regulation. Likewise, there's other types of regulations: construction products regulation, environmental product declaration. All businesses have ESG reporting standards, or even teams now. So the accuracy and trust around your product data is really, really important as we move into this kind of new regulatory landscape. And really, a PIM, offers you a central repository to store this compliant data on all the certifications and specific specifications that relate to that compliance as well. Over to you.
Great. So just want to talk a little bit more about the commerce ecosystem, and we have touched on it a little bit around ERPs. What you see on this slide here is a typical data flow when a PIM is implemented. where you've got data sat in an ERP and it flows from the ERP into the PIM and then a PIM onto the other channels, such as the websites. ERPs are a system that is fundamental pillar to any kind of tech stack, but their purpose is multi-purpose, right? It's dealing with managing accounting, procurement, human resources, etc. So they will hold product catalog information, but for manufacturers and distributors, often relying on the ERP, the data fields are quite locked in terms of what you can do, what you can't do. So an example would be you might need product description information out to a certain marketplace. Well, sometimes the ERP will have something as simple as locking down the number of characters you can have in a product description field. So you're therefore not able to sell your product in as efficient way or in as effective way as you would ideally want to. Similarly, they're not going to hold things like product images or videos, they're going to hold data sheets. So those technical documents, they're not designed for being held and shared, the content. So sales and marketing need that information to be putting it out in front of their customers as quickly as possible. So it's important to know that a PIM is a complementary solution. So it's certainly not looking to replace an ERP. So both systems would tend to be connected, with a typical data flow having a product being set up in an ERP initially, but it would be the basic product information that would be set up in there. And then that information would then be pushed into the PIM where the content enrichment would occur, as we've discussed before. For websites, they're just, whether your website is just for presenting product content, say on a WordPress website or Drupal, or is an actual e-commerce site, maybe on a Magento, Shopify, BigCommerce. Product content obviously can be held there, but again, this creates another data silo, and the data is difficult to access and share with customers because that's not what the purpose of those systems are. It also means that before the content reaches the CMS, it's had to go through a whole process of collection, reviews, editing, exporting, all of which a PIM should manage in one place, right? And therefore, managing it in that one place will then obviously feed the CMS, but it will also feed multi-channels from that single place as well. So neither systems that I've just touched on are any good really at formatting data intended for different channels, and that's where a PIM absolutely excels. A PIM also allows efficient supply chain management when there is need for flexibility in sharing different information to different customers. So this might be applying, if you've got, say, different distributors, some of those are key accounts, some of those are smaller accounts. Perhaps you're providing different pricing discounts to each of those. So again, being able to choose the correct fields, i.e. pricing fields for each of those groups is something that a PIM solution can do. So, just kind of talking around that, we work with a business called Bellotta. They manufacture hand tools for construction, agricultural sector mainly. Fairly big product catalog, 8,000 products, but they're managing across 120 countries, dealing with 11 brands. So there's a lot going on there. So for them, the pain was transferring that digital content and its importance throughout the teams and standardizing, like we've touched on, and having those data structures in place to support customers throughout the purchase journey. Gathering all of that data in one centralized database, fundamental to that, and helping things like maintain SEO is a benefit of that as well. Interesting then, Bellotta also, they sell to another client of ours, which is BDB. They are a large building materials retailer. So again, similar, different challenges for the retailer in this situation, because they're dealing with multiple different suppliers, dealing with a lot of Excel sheets that those suppliers are sharing information for. So reduction and streamlining of those complicated processes, automatically updating their websites. So previously they were using just a website and an intranet. And the benefits for them Well, catalogs were getting ready in 2 weeks instead of a couple of months, and being able to create things like promotional brochures just were able to achieve in minutes. So that speed to market that we've touched on before, absolutely fundamental. Okay, so this is just really a recap of what we've covered, the five kind of core areas that we said we'd go into. So building materials products, we touched on a lot of complex specification information, needs to be managed internally, and it needs to be kept accurate and up to date. Data standardization across the supply chain for adopting a PIM system provides suppliers, distributors, customers with a much faster and more efficient way of working. Catalog updates, you're allowing yourself to remove that manual repetitive tasks that allows product releases and product updates to be fed automatically through your sales and marketing channels, delivering relevant content for that channel or that region. So important that it's automatically feeding the correct information to the correct channel. Then touched on the regulatory compliance, very critical in the building materials space. And again, it's going to vary by country and is always changing. And then finally, the integrations across the systems that I was just touching on. It's about driving productivity improvement as systems are auto updating, and therefore departments can work together to provide that optimized content as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
Great stuff. Thanks, Mark. Well, we're just about out of time, but you know, we just wanted to leave all the attendees with actually a special offer that Start with Data and Sales Layer offering today. So if you book a proof of concept with us before March the 22nd, we will do it for free. What will we do? Well, Start with Data will take some of your existing products and product data. We will enrich that. So we will source the information and we will enrich that for you. And then we will put that enriched data into Sales Layer, into a demo instance of Sales Layer, where we will showcase some of the PIM software capabilities that Mark alluded to earlier, to show how, you know, PIM would really benefit your organization. So if you want to take advantage of that offer, please feel free to reach out to me or Mark at any time, and we'll get that set up as quickly as possible. If you had any other questions, just next slide, Mark. Yeah, if you've got any other questions, you know, mine and Mark's details are on this slide. We're always open for discussions. You know, we love to muse over all of these different challenges and things. So just reach out to both of us. So on that note, I'll say thank you. Thanks from me, Ben from Start with Data. It's been really great to do this today. Great to be with you again, Mark.
No, thanks, Ben, and thank you for everybody for attending. Hope you found it useful, and hopefully look forward to speaking to a few of you in the coming days.
Fabulous. And just a really quick note, the webinar is recorded, so it will be available through the Start with Data and Sales Layer websites probably sometime later today. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks, Mark.
Bye.
Bye.